Is there actually such a thing as free will and the freedom of choice? Or does the universe not actually enable such a thing to exist? And how might this actually impact society? At first glance, the obvious answer would be yes, of course we have free will. As societies where individual freedoms are severely limited, the freedom to act as your individual moral code dictates, are equally restricted. That isn't what I'm actually thinking about here. So every human, animal, plant on Earth, presumably in the universe, is made from a series of elements all arranged within the body of the living organism. Substantially different arrangement of those chemicals, you get an entirely different living organism. It leaves us then with the question of how did those particular chemicals end up in that particular location at that particular time? Well, the general answer would have to be the Big Bang. Put all the various atoms in various locations with differing amounts of energy, causing stars to form and explode, then more stars to form, along with the planets, and eventually one of those planets with an atmosphere, a reasonable temperature range, and the right conditions for life to form. Then again, the locations of the various chemical elements on the planet would be impacted by gravity, solar radiation, and many other factors, all mixing up the elements to create more complex life and the related food sources for those life forms. But is all this random chance, or can it actually be traced back to the starting point of the Big Bang? And if you could have a powerful enough computer with enough data, would it be possible to work out, for instance, that a particular rabbit would graze in a particular field on a particular day? If you can do that with a rabbit, might also not be able to do the same with humans as well. Since humans cannot control their past or how they came to be in existence, are all of their choices or apparent choices already made? Due to the location of all the chemical elements that go in to make them up, so the memories and experiences which are normally considered to influence a choice or decision may also be seen to be inevitable. And then so are the choices that are made upon those based on experiences. While individuals may make choices all the time and in theory are free to make different choices, those choices may have already been made by the universe. The general concept of this idea is determinism, like setting up a computer with a complex game, setting it to autoplay the game. However, with different computers running the same game twice, even with exactly the same parameters, you can get a different game and a different result. So this changing outcome actually relates to a random factor which computers often incorporate into their games to make them less predictable. So could the same occur in the universe? What would that possible implication for free will actually be? Well, radioactive decay and also possible quantum fluctuations certainly could act as a random element to the universe over time, resulting in slightly different outcomes each time the universe scenario is modelled. That certainly could mean that humans might make different decisions in each scenario. But since these decisions will also be made by the positions of the chemicals in the universe, is there still any true free will actually occurring? So if humans don't have free will or freedom of choice in their actions, are they also morally responsible for those actions? Apparently they have no choice in the matter. Well, the same case can also be made for humans not having free will, which can also be made for society's reaction to morally questionable acts. However, looking at the criminal justice system from a deterministic point of view could also alter how society views crime and punishment. If certain people are going to commit crimes due to predetermined circumstances, the thought process could be that in order to reduce crime levels, society needs to alter those base circumstances. Two easily recognizable common factors shared by the majority of criminals are poor educational achievement and poverty. That isn't to say everyone that fails at school or grows up in a poor area will be a criminal, but those circumstances greatly increase the chances for creating more criminals. It's been shown that in numerous rehabilitation studies that if you educate criminals while in prison and arrange jobs for them when they're released, the chances of the individuals reoffending drop dramatically. While this rehabilitation approach is a good first step, ideally it needs to be rolled out on a much wider basis to have a substantial impact on crime in society. What is needed is substantial investment in education for all ages, from the very young to more mature members of society, combined with a more widespread universal approach to tackling poverty. While this may seem a logical approach, politics isn't always about logic. Most political decisions are made for the short-term gains, not long-term society-changing results on offer here. With politicians facing voters wanting a reduction in crime, feel the pressure to lock up criminals for longer rather than change the nature of criminals when they're actually under pressure on spending. They will also look to cut taxes and not be seen to be wasting money on welfare, where some politicians think that individuals are just too lazy to get themselves out of the position they actually find themselves in, rather than thinking there may be a more fundamental and structural issue actually going on here.